Books are interesting, but they can be confusing. What are chapters? What's an index? How do I use a contents page? What's a blurb? What's an ISBN? And what's the difference between fiction and non-fiction? Well, let's slow down and have a little bit of a closer look. Generally speaking, there are two types of book. One is fiction, which is not true or made up stories, and the other is non-fiction that we might think of as factual. Fiction books are probably the most popular form of book. They're just stories, like novels, that you probably have a few of in your house. Non-fiction books, however, are things like history books or biographies, which are true stories about people's lives. Other types of fiction might include plays or TV or film scripts. Let's take a look at Skellig by David Almond. Now, up here we can see that there's a title, in this case it's Skellig. This is a book that I actually read in school. And then we have the author's name down at the bottom. If we flip the book over, we can find something called the blurb. This is a short description of what the story inside is about, and at the bottom you can see a barcode, which has another little code of numbers, which we call the ISBN. ISBN stands for International Standard Book Number, and it's just a 13-digit number that most books have to help identify them. If we turn the book around and then open it up, on the first few pages we can find some information about who printed the book, a bit more information about the books David Almond has written in the past, and then once we get to the story we find some numbers. Here's number 1. A few pages later we can find the number 2, and then after that we can find the number 3, and they keep going in the book like this. These are what are known as chapter headings, and they help divide the book into sections. Chapters are just like scenes in a movie, and they appear in fiction books and non-fiction books. Quite simply, they are just sections of a book. Let's have a look at a non-fiction book that also uses chapters, in this case Made in America by Bill Bryson. If we flip it over, we don't find a blurb, we actually find some quotes about the book and an ISBN. If we open it back up, we can find an introduction, and then we have chapter 1, The Mayflower and Before. The chapters in this book are a lot bigger than the chapters in Skellig, probably because it's a non-fiction book and has a lot more writing in it. If we pause here, we can see the blurb is on the left, on the inside of the book. And then, because there are so many chapters in the book and because they're so long, we have a contents page, which lists all of the chapters and the pages you can find them on. If we wanted to find chapter 4, Making a Nation, we would find it on page 48. So let's have a look. Here we are, Making a Nation, chapter 4. If we compare Made in America to Skellig, we can see that Skellig has really short chapters, but no contents page. This is probably because it's really easy to find the chapters in Skellig. So, nice and simple, a contents page is simply just a list of what's in the book and where you can find it. Okay then, let's keep going. If we take a look at the Student Atlas, we can see that it also has a contents page and tells you all of the different sections of the book and the page numbers where you can find those sections. This is very helpful in a large non-fiction book like this. But if we go to the back, we can find a really detailed version of a contents page called an index. So this helps us find something more specific in the book. Here are all the words beginning with A. So if we wanted to find the page that has Africa on it, we just have to find Africa, which will be down here. And there it is, page 118. So all we need to do is turn to page 118, and we should be able to find out all the information we want to know about the continent of Africa. Lovely. Okay, let's try the index again, but in a different book. Here's a book about Tutankhamun, the pharaoh of Egypt. And let's say I want to know about maybe some jewelry in Tutankhamun's time. Here's the index, we just have to go to the words beginning with J, not a lot. But here's jewelry, page 200 to 203. There's also some other pages there, but I'm just going to try the first few that it has on the list. We just have to flip to page 200, and there we are, information about the jewelry of Egypt. Fascinating. Sometimes though, in children's books or really short books like this one called The Cat, which is my favourite one, you don't find a contents page, you don't find an index, and there aren't any chapters. This one is broken into sections, but they're broken into questions about cats. You can learn about why cats purr, what a cat's meow is, Why do they lick you? Why do they meow? Why do they hiss? All the stuff you'd like to know about a cat, which I can assure you is fascinating. Another book you might be more familiar with that doesn't have an index, a contents page, any chapters whatsoever, and doesn't even have page numbers is The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. This is a storybook, so it's designed to just be read in one go, and you're just supposed to enjoy it along with the pictures. So, let's recap what we've learnt. We've heard about fiction books, we've also heard about non-fiction books, we've looked at chapters and the different types of chapters we can have, we've looked at contents pages, and we've also looked at the really detailed contents pages called indexes. Fiction books are quite simply just storybooks, stories that are made up. Non-fiction books are factual. Chapters are just sections of books. Contents pages are lists of sections. And the index is just a list of topics or words, a really detailed version of the contents list. So now that you know all that, why don't you grab the nearest book and see what you can find inside?